No one here. Good. All right, let's move from theory to practice. Join me as we explore my urban garden and see how everything is progressing. Plus, I'll give you a peek at my new no-dig bed, where this year's pumpkin patch will be. Let's go. Out here in front of my house, I discovered that the last owners must have planted a pekin pepper plant. I'd never seen that before on my property, so I was super excited. And so what did I decide to do? I decided to clone 12 million of them, so that way I can plant them eventually somewhere else in my pepper park. So here they are. I don't know if you can see them. I hope you can. They're my babies. When I'm cloning it, obviously I need to have branches to make the clones from. So I took all of the peppers off of there and I placed them in a little bowl, and they're still green. And apparently you have a chance to turn them red if you expose them to ethylene gas. So, I don't know, girl. It's like low-key giving the craft, is it not? Like, escucha las palabras de las. First, fill your seed starters with soil, then make some cavities for the seeds. Let's deposit those seeds and seal the holes. We'll clearly label them, add water, add the lids, and put them under the grow light. Seed starting is just the beginning. Let's take a look at the pekin pepper plant's new home. This is gonna be like my pepper park. This is the bell pepper section. We have a purple bell pepper, and then we have a yellow variety. These over here are more peppers, so this is an extension of that same park.
Pepper park.
These are lunchbox red, and then the other is a, hold on, Bonnie's green pepper, which it's like a green bell. Bonnie's green bell. It's like a bell pepper that stays green and it doesn't transition to any other color. At least that's what it seemed like. So here they are in all their glory. Say hi. Don't be rude. Over here we've got the poblano peppers, the jalapeno peppers, and then that's my pomegranate tree, which of course I'm not gonna uproot and disturb this late in life. Also, I have a compost pile that I've been working on. I haven't taken too good care of it. Basically the line of everyone who's ever owned a compost pile, right? Letting it die. She's struggling. Do you see how active it is with isopods, at least, which are pill bugs or roly-polies? It's just not as active as I would like with like the right types of animals. I would expect a heavy amount of earthworms. I had planted some previously, but I guess there was so much of the compost pile that went anaerobic that I was unable to maintain their populations. It's a new year. Maybe I can do better. I wish I recorded this process here, but I didn't. I transplanted this mandarin plant here and also the banana tree that I've been growing in a pot. So here they are. Say hi. What I did is I dug out all of the dirt. And in my yard, I have really, really rocky soil. I have to plant the plants on top of that rock layer.
Say hi.
And then kind of layer on compost on top of it. Let's get started on the raised bed. I hadn't been the best with keeping the bed hydrated, and a lot of the mix inside is cocoa coir, and cocoa coir, when it dries out to a certain level, becomes hydrophobic. So we need to get in there, break it up, hydrate it, break it up, hydrate it, break it up. So continue that loop as many times as you need if you have the same type of raised bed setup that I do. We'll let that soak while we get started on the no-dig bed. We'll use the boards to divide the area, old cardboard without any plastic on it as the lining.
cut it into size, wet it down, and then put the soil of your choice. Perfect use for all that old dirt and the pots that you've had just hanging out. Yeah, let's just throw that in. After a family gathering, I had plenty of compost. We're gonna throw that into the mix and disperse it equally throughout the mixture, or as best as we can. I'm going to hydrate it and let it sit overnight, but first, I need to put creature protection. Someone might try to make their move. The next day, let's get those seeds planted. With mulch on top of this bed, it's ready for sowing. What kind of mulch did I use? Well, it's just mulch that I have laying around my yard. So use whatever is available to you, as it'll act as the lid to our soil, protecting its moisture. I seeded the new bed and the old bed with mycorrhiza to encourage the right type of fungi growth. And now we wait.
Everything is going so well. Everything is sprouting just as expected. For the most part, all of my squash made it. There was one rogue pumpkin that decided to go ahead and destroy himself and disappear from existence. So in light of that, I'm gonna go ahead and soak another pumpkin seed that I can plant in its place, and that way I'm not wasting any of the space in my no-dig garden. It still hasn't shown any signs of life. I'm not too concerned about it, but I just, progress update. This is the Big Beef. It's a hybrid tomato. It gets fairly large. I only put one in a space that I would probably put a couple, just to be prepared for the size. That's the Celebrity hybrid tomato. It grows a little bit smaller. I wanted some variety. And the last two here, which I haven't figured out quite what to do with, are the eggplant and the zucchini. So those, to be disclosed where they're gonna go, because I don't know. What's really cool is that I've had a couple of uninvited guests. Last season, I had a bell pepper plant. I believe it was a California Wonder. The fruit was still on the tree when the frost came. And so I don't know if you heard about the frost in Texas, but basically it wiped out every plant that was not frost hardy in one go. But these here are actually stragglers from that event. So after the pepper got frozen, it got damaged, and then of course it died, right? But the seeds inside proliferated, and now I have 2 extra plants. I don't know if I'm gonna keep them, but I'm excited to have them. If I have room, maybe they shall go in Pepper Park, but who knows? These here are all of the seed starting things. They are just starting. At least that's what I'm telling myself in my head, when in reality, there's only like one, make it 2. There's another one here somewhere, right here. Look, my hand looks huge. So anyway, there is no sign of life yet. Based on the ones that I planted, I wouldn't expect favorable results. I don't know if you've ever tried to start rosemary, sage, and some of the herbs from seed, but sometimes the germination rates suck. So most of the time people buy clones. I'm kind of standing strong and trying to get it to grow from seed, but we'll see what happens. In the grass in my area, you may be curious why it is so barren in this yard in these streets. So essentially I let it kind of cover crop and grow a bunch of different plants. I threw some cover crops in there and they've done really well. It's just, it was time for them to go. And so I murdered them and destroyed their lives. Now they're just kind of like brown on the ground, which is fine. Like I'm not stressing about it. Like grass isn't productive, I don't need it. But aesthetically. It's not exactly pleasing. This area here on the side of my house, it's fairly large. It's a nice kind of sectioned off place from the rest of the yard. I'm thinking about putting a patch there of some homogeneous plant. I'm not quite sure what that is yet. I might do rows of sweet potatoes, as I recently found out they can be grown as perennials in my yard. If you remember the pepper story just a little bit earlier, I had some sweet potatoes that I decided to plant in a raised bed instead of putting them inside of a container, which if you've grown potatoes, you know that that's not like the best idea in the world. It's kind of hard to dig them out, and you also can't be sure that you're gonna get them all out, right? So this area here in this raised box is where I planted the potatoes. Now you can kind of see I had some ginger in here that I was trying to grow. So that's cute. There was sweet potatoes here, and I guess there was like a tuber that was so far below that I didn't see it. It ended up growing right here off to the side, like just wild in my lawn. I guess a sweet potato just decided to go rogue. And so now I have this huge amount of potatoes, these sweet potatoes here, that I've had since last season, that I've kind of just been letting scream in my closet, I guess. Now that it's time that they can survive outside, I think I might want to plant them there, but we'll see. Thanks for checking out the video and stopping by, seeing what I'm doing in my yard. There's not a whole lot of excitement. It's more of like the potential energy of the garden that I'm really excited about. If we could take a look and just enjoy a moment together, that'd be great.
Working in the garden always reminds me of an important life lesson: the power of baby steps. Just as we nurture our plants little by little, we too can nurture ourselves little by little. Real, lasting growth happens over time, one small action after another. Let's take a moment, appreciate the beauty of slowing down, whether it's in the garden or our personal lives. Let's embrace the process, be patient with ourselves, and celebrate the small victories.